This is the Brella Community Services Podcast, the Caregiver Series, with Louise Taylor.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Brella's Caregiver Podcast Series. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Louise Taylor, and I'm the Director of Community Engagement. And we're going to be exploring the challenges, discussing experiences, offering tips, guidance for caregivers and their loved ones. And throughout these discussions, I have three amazing gentlemen who have so much life experience to share. We'll all be able to take something from this series. I'd like to introduce you to, and it's my honor to introduce Stan Fryer. Stan was a most devoted caregiver to his wife for 17 years who lived with dementia. Through his unwavering love and dedication, Stan has navigated the challenges of dementia, providing constant support and care. It's also my pleasure to introduce Lauren Davidson, who in 1996, at the age of 48, declared bankruptcy and was forced to take a hard look at his life as a touring musician. With debts rising up, and no answers in sight, he felt he'd hit rock bottom. After suggestions from his wife to try Taekwondo to help him relax and release some of the stress, he agreed to a few lessons and never looked back. Lauren Davidson is a 6th-degree master instructor in the art of Songham Taekwondo and the owner of 2 training academies. Last and certainly not least, a very dear friend of mine and colleague, Michael Morgan. Michael was a national broadcaster and produced a syndicated radio show with luminaries like David Suzuki and David Foster, was the owner of an award-winning national advocacy advertising group. He was a voice-over performer and writer who remains committed to, thank you, Brella. And Michael is also a caregiver, a cancer survivor, which is amazing. So, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time this morning. Let's get into it. Our first podcast is on stresses, triggers, and coping solutions. Stan, I'd like to start with you. Reflecting on your 17 years as a caregiver, what is the most effective way you found to reduce stress for your wife while also protecting your own well-being?
Well, I made sure that she was never in a stressful situation, and I would try to guide other people that came to visit her as to what they might ask and say to her.
Sure.
And as far as my own self, I think I absorbed the stress because I have God in my life who helps me distress.
Right.
Stress.
So helpful. And Lauren, discipline is a hallmark of martial arts. How have your practices and philosophies in Taekwondo helped you cope with life stresses, especially as you've grown older?
Say the first thing is balance.
Okay.
Mental, emotional, and physical balance. It's not something that came naturally to me, but through the practice, you have to learn balance, and then it just evolved into the mental and the emotional side, and then I learned an attitude of I get to rather than I have to, right? And gratitude.
Absolutely.
Always being gratitude, always having gratitude, and being open to trying and learning new things. I would say that those are the major parts: balance, attitude, gratitude, and openness.
Right. I agree. Absolutely. I love that. And Michael, facing and overcoming such a significant health challenge must have been hugely transformative for you. What strategies or mindsets do you adopt to manage this stress during your recovery, and how do you prioritize self-care?
Well, those are excellent questions. I had throat cancer surgery a year ago. I had an award-winning Stradivarius voice, which was taken from me, and I've had an ongoing pneumonia because I can't chew or swallow, and I'm caring for my grandson who's 17. To answer from my perspective on how did I navigate that, I tend to agree with the other panelists. It requires a balance. For people like me who are always there to fix it, I'll fix that. Well, I now have to fix me. So, and I still work full time, 5 days a week. I live on faith. I have an abiding faith that what is presented to me is a lesson and a challenge and not just a kick to the curb. So I try not to take these things personally, but more like learning lessons.
Absolutely. I think it's kind of what the old adage is day by day, one step at a time, one bite at a time. You just keep going forward, one foot in front of the other, see what life challenges take on, and hope you've got your elbows up and broad shoulders to steer the rough waters.
Yeah.
That's great. Let's just have a general conversation. I'll put this out there and feel free to jump in. In your opinion, what's the single most important habit, mind shift that a caregiver or individuals in decline can adopt to foster a sense of calm and balance in their lives?
Who wants to go first?
I was just going to say to be very, very cognizant of your mental and physical health,
Yeah,
right? As caregivers or people who are dealing with issues, uh, uh, financial, physical, whatever. The most important thing is our health, because we can be of no service or no use to others if we have nothing to give to ourselves.
right,
So I'd say mental and physical health.
right. Stan, how did you keep going all
Yeah,
those
one of the
years?
things one of the things I tried to do is build a community of connections for my wife, so that I would make sure that the connections that she made were first gone through me, so that I know what was expected of her. So it was a good community.
Oh, good. And we keep talking about um, person-centered attitudes and removing that stigma. And people that are living with dementia should be treated and welcomed and included and embraced and not feel embarrassed by or shunned by or opinioned by others. If you'd like a drink at 5 o'clock, I don't see why you can't have a drink at 5 o'clock. And if you think you're doing something, I'm going to agree with you. I'm never going to argue or disagree with somebody. It's their world, and we'll just live with that. So thanks, Stan. What about you, Michael?
Well, I think Stan said something that was really spot on, and that is you cannot lose your gratitude for what you do have. Now, in my case, I could complain all day and feel sorry for myself that I no longer can do voiceovers, but I have a voice. I'm on this show with you, and I'm able to speak and be heard and continue to work. So I find in moments of anxiety, I count my blessings. And it's amazing how long that list is once you start.
Right, right.
I think that's very important to count your blessings. There's no doubt about this. But another thing that's so important is to have love in your heart. Because if you have love that you can give out,
Yes.
and I receive my love from God, so I can give that out to anybody that comes around, particularly to my wife through the number of years I was with her.
It would take all of that and then some, Stan. So you're certainly drawing from higher powers to be able to sustain and go on and to be able to give that love because that's got to be very draining to be a caregiver. And all of you that in some way have been. And so I'm sure you really understand and appreciate what Stan is saying. So that's really neat.
Appreciate what Stan is saying, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Each one of you has faced different challenges, whether or not caregiving, mastering the martial arts, or beating cancer. How do you think our older generations can teach the young people the importance of resilience and self-care?
I think patience. I would think more than anything. I mean, Stan exhibits that. I mean, 17 years of caregiving, tremendous amount of internal strength and patience,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
With himself and with the situation around him. And as Michael was talking about the gifts of I have what I have, right? And to do the best. And that takes, in my estimation, just an abiding amount of patience, right? So that's what I would say, patience.
Patience, right? And
I think it's important. We have to learn to be able to give. We have so much to give to younger people. I don't spend much time with my children, grandchildren, and great grandchildren at Christmas, but I do take them out on their birthdays and
nice.
spend 2 or 3 hours with them, just the two of us. So I have a great influence over their thinking as to what I've been through.
And we need those moments of intergenerational communication because it's such a win for everyone when we can bring those the generations together and for a cup of coffee or a glass of water, whatever it is, just to talk and learn. You know, last night I said I wish I could phone my mom. This question I don't know the answer to, and I know she knows it, and she's not here anymore to ask. And
Mm.
so taking advantage of those times with your grandchildren and your loved ones, I think becomes so much more important as we get older too. That we
Yeah,
realize the
we do
value
have
of
we do have a lot of influence over
absolutely.
our children and grandchildren because when I spend time with them, they want to bring in their friends and introduce them to me. They want to hear what I have to say as well. So we have a lot of influence over younger people that we
Sure,
don't realize.
sure. Lauren, I bet you experience that daily at your do you call it a studio? What do you call it?
Call it an academy.
An academy.
I
Okay.
call it because it's more than martial arts. I'm teaching life skills.
Right.
I'm teaching and I am teaching martial arts, but I'm also teaching life skills and just how to. So I get to interact with ages from 4 up to I've taught people up to in their 60s.
Wow.
Uh, so I've spanned the breadth of a lot of years, but I they keep me young.
You're teaching people to get along with one another,
Yes, yes, exactly, Stan. Right,
and
too.
that's so important.
Yeah,
Very true. Yeah, very, very true. And this climate, it's exceptionally true. So that communication and that willingness to listen and to be heard
right.
is really important. Yeah,
And
I'm
to be involved in their families.
yes,
It's not just the children I'm dealing
Yeah.
with. I'm dealing with moms and dads, and that the having well, we've all raised children, right? So we all know what it's like when we're in our 40s, 30s and 40s, and we're overwhelmed with career and children and the everyday cares. And just to remind parents, like you're going to get through this. There's going to come a time where you're going to come out the other side, and there's going to be another life to live beyond your children, right? You're still going to be there for your children, but there's more to life after your children. So
yes,
to remind the parents of that, right? Like
yes,
I know
yeah,
I know you're feeling overwhelmed, but so it's it's a wonderful gift that I've been given, this ability to be able to communicate between the generations.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
And to be able to have the energy and the ability and the resources to be able to teach.
Absolutely. Michael, I'm sure you must experience that with your grandson that you're raising.
Well, he's at a bit of an awkward age at 17, and he's becoming an adult.
Yes.
So he's like those eagles that sit on the nest and flap their wings, but they still expect the parents to come and feed them. But he's making his way to the point that Sam was making, and Lauren. One of my dear friends is the chief storyteller and heritage chief of the Seafeld Indian Band. That's their legal name. His name is Calvin Dragon. And I worked for him for 4 or 5 years, and he taught me an awful lot about how First Nations, indigenous people like himself, navigate their lives. They've had lots of trauma, well beyond what any of us have had, and yet there they are. And they're living their lives and they're celebrating. And so he taught me some of the secrets of how to survive in very bad times. And he said, listen, don't take everything so personally. Don't get lost in caregiving for someone else where you lose yourself. Most important, yesterday you can do nothing about. Tomorrow is something you have no control over. The less time you spend in the moment, in the here and now, the less life you have. So what you learn is to live for this moment. Don't just blow by it. It's not a bus ride. It's all designed to give you lessons. And if you learn the lessons, then you can see progress, you can see a purpose, and you can be grateful that even though the lessons are painful, that's part of your earthly experience. And I've taken that to heart.
Right. Stan, did you have any thoughts?
Hey, pardon?
Do you have any thoughts? Any final thoughts on this question?
I think I did put something in.
Okay. I'd like to wrap it up. I think doing these in nice short bites, because the topics are pretty heavy, is great. We can go away and we can think about it and remember that balance and patience, kindness, a willingness to listen, a willingness to learn, and a willingness to engage are all tips and helpful pieces of advice to help you with stress. And so my last and final question is, if you could share one piece of advice with somebody navigating a similar journey, what would you tell them about reducing stress and embracing self-care?
Breathe,
Sure.
breathe, breathe through your nose, not through your mouth, and practice breath work. One of the biggest changes in my life is learning that we have two nervous systems. We have a parasympathetic nervous system and we have a sympathetic nervous system.
Mm.
The parasympathetic nervous system is activated. That's the calm, rest, digest. That is activated through breathing through the nose. The more we breathe through the mouth, we activate the sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight, flight, freeze, or faint.
Huh?
And all that nervous system does is dump cortisol into our system, which is an immune suppressant. And that all we do is make ourselves sick, right? Or give ourselves we suppress our immune system so that sickness, illness has more avenue into us. So breathe, learn how to breathe. And it's like breathe, I breathe every day, but we don't know how to breathe properly. So breathing through our nose on a regular basis, even when we're exerting ourselves, you can breathe out through your mouth, but breathe through your nose. So I would recommend, and there's all kinds of breathing apps. I breathe 4 times a day or 3 times a day to activate. In the morning, I activate waking up through breath work. In the midday, I breathe through, I have a certain set that I breathe through to focus my day. And then at nighttime, I have breath work that I use to allow myself to sleep peacefully, which I do with no problem.
Wow.
So,
That is great
so
advice.
breath work.
Breath work. I will be remembering that. How about you, Stan?
I think one of the most important things that I would stress for a caregiver is to learn patience. And you learn patience through love.
Yeah.
If you love the person that you're caregiving, you'll soon get patience. But I think I could never stress enough to have patience with
And
yourself and
Yeah.
with the person you're looking after.
Absolutely.
And
And
that
draw on that patience.
Yes, and that
As-
comes through love.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
Totally agree, Stan.
Michael.
I think two things I've been taught, and it took me many, many decades to learn them. One is to be observant, and the other is to be aware. I assumed stupidly for many decades that the things that I was seeing were either not important or not for me. It was only late in my adult life that I realized it was all a signal to me. It was all communication. And now I like to think that I spend time being observant, and you'd be surprised the little secrets that are revealed that help ease your journey in just being aware and sitting back and letting the ball come to you, as Dr. Page used to say.
Right.
You taught me that when we did our sessions that so many years ago. And so I see things now that I wouldn't have seen. And I pay attention to things now that I hadn't paid attention to before. And I recognize that those messages really are for me.
Yeah.
And the more that we are engaged in our world, I think the better the world is for it. And I'm so grateful of those lessons that you taught me, Michael. And I would really like to continue this podcast and to share your wisdom with our viewers and the people that will be watching this. It's really amazing. Is there anything else any of you want to share?
I'd like to share, Louise, before we go, is that of all the people I've met, and I've met some incredible people, I'm proud to say, you stand alone as a person who changes the world by your perspective and your positivity. And I would want you to know that everybody notices it, everybody's uplifted by it. Even though you have your own hurts and griefs and fears, you put a smile on your face and you radiate. And that's why all of us gather around here in honor of that modeling behavior. It's something very special, and it's a gift you give the world every day.
Oh, Michael, thank you. Thank you. I'm just honored to be in all of your company and all of your wisdom and life learning. And I can only hope to be half as successful as all three of you have been. And I can't thank you enough for today's podcast on stress and how we mitigate it through love, through breathing, through balance, kindness, and patience. And we will connect with all of you again soon. Thank you ever so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day, everyone.
You
Yes.
too.
You have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye
Bye-bye.
now.
Bye.
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 This was the Brella Community Services Podcast, the Caregiver Series, with Louise Taylor. For more information, go to our website at www.brellasociety.ca.